Hi students, good morning to all. Now we are going to prepare the process costing illustration sum number 4. No losses. This is the new method. No losses and the stock of the material is given. What is meant by stock of the material is given? That means opening stock and closing stock is given in this question. Okay. So Romsons Limited produces a product which goes through three processes A, B and C. Okay. So the product passes through three processes, that is A, B and C, before it is finished and send it to the godown for distribution. Okay. From the following details, ascertain the cost of the product at the end of each stage of the production. Okay. What they given here? Process A, process B, process C. Okay. Raw material, other direct material, direct wages, overheads, output in units, opening stocks in units, closing stocks in units from previous process. Okay, listen. We are going to learn the new format here for opening and closing stock, and output units also given here. Okay, and other information, one more information, opening and closing stock is not given in the process A. Okay, let's do the process A. So you know very well about the process A format. Okay, so as per the format, what you are going to write here, what are the items they have given in the process A, you are going to enter on debtor side, which means the cost account, expenses, all the expenses goes on debtor side. So the raw material, other direct materials, direct wages, overheads. Okay, 10,000, 30,000, 10,000, 10,000 we have entered on debtor side. Okay, in rupees column. Then they have given output in units, 15,000 units output in process A. Okay, so we entered output 15,000 rupees, which means what is the output 15,000 means? It's a previous process output we have transferred into the current process as the input. Okay, so here we consider it as the input 15,000 rupees. After entered all A process related transaction we have entered here. After entered, now we are going to calculate the total. Okay, 15,000 units as input and all the cost after added, you will get 60,000 rupees. The total amount you are going to enter on both the side. Credit side we don't have any items, so the balancing figure is 15,000 and 60,000 we taken from the total and enter on credit side as the balancing figure. Against this value you are going to write by process B account, because at the end of the process A you got the output unit 15,000 and total process A's total cost is 60,000 rupees, right? So you are going to write by process B account. Why? Because that 15,000 units and the 60,000 total cost will be transferred to the next process as the input. Okay, so for that you are going to write by process B account. Within the bracket, what you have to do, now we are going to calculate the unit. Cost per unit. How can you calculate the cost per unit? You know very well about, we learned in previous classes. Okay, we have formula for to find out the cost per unit. That means the total cost divided by output. Total cost is 60,000 rupees and output is 15,000 rupees. After divided you will get 4 rupees per unit. The cost per unit is 4 rupees at the end of the process A. So process A completed. Now we are going to prepare process B account. What listen the question. If they have opening stock given in the question, first of all you have to write the opening stock. Okay, so then that only you are going to transfer the previous output into the input for this current process. Okay, so opening stock unit is 6,000 rupees given in process B. Okay, which form opening stock is given? The opening stock given in unit form. Okay, listen, we have the rules for opening and closing stock. What is the rule? This is the new method. Okay, so opening and closing stock is given in the question. The opening and closing stock will be valued at the cost per unit in previous process. Underline that. Okay, so the opening stock unit is 6,000 rupees. It will be calculated with the cost per unit from the previous process. So what is the previous process cost per unit? The cost per unit for previous process is 4 rupees. So now we are going to calculate the opening stock. 6,000 unit will be multiplied with the previous process cost per unit 4. 6 fours are 24. 6,000 into 4 are 24,000 rupees. So opening stock value is 24,000 rupees entered. After you enter the opening stock, then only you are going to transfer the output from previous process into the current process as the input. So previous process output is 15,000 units and the total cost of the previous process is 60,000 rupees will be transferred, taken from previous process into the current process. We are going to write to process A account. Why? Because we taken from this value from where? From process A. So for that you are going to write to process A account 15,000 units and 60,000 rupees entered. Okay. After enter the opening stock and the process A's output and the total cost of the process A only, you are going to enter the rest of the value related to the process B. So listen carefully, raw material is not given in the process B, right? So other cost you are going to write other direct materials, direct wages, overheads respectively 20,000, 20,000, 8,000 rupees. We have to enter on debtor side, direct material, direct wages, overheads 20,000, 20,000, 8,000. Okay. After we entered all the costs, what we have to do now? We are going to find out the total. So the total is 15,000 plus total unit is 15,000 and 6,000 input unit. Okay, 20 added 21,000. After added all the cost, you will get 1,32,000 rupees. This is the total cost for process B. The same value you are going to enter on credit side as the total. Okay, listen. After enter the total, we have the closing stock here. Listen, closing stock they have given in uniform unit. Okay, closing stock unit is how much rupees? 5,000 rupees. Okay, 5,000 unit. Process B's closing stock is how much unit? 5,000 unit. So in unit column, listen, opening stock will be entered on debtor side and closing stock will be entered on creditor side. You know very well. Okay, so closing stock unit is 5,000 rupees entered in unit column. Okay, we have the rules, you know. So what is the rule? Opening and closing stock will be valued at the cost per unit taken from the previous process, right? So closing stocks unit 5,000 will be calculated with the cost per unit taken from the previous process. What is the cost per unit for previous process? 4 rupees. Okay, so opening and closing stock will calculated with that previous process cost per unit. As per that, 5,000 rupees will be multiplied with 4 rupees, you will get 20,000 rupees. So closing stock value is what? 20,000 rupees entered. Okay, now listen, we have the output here. Yes. So what is the output unit is given in the question. Process B's output unit is 14,000 rupees, right? So the output will be entered on creditor side. Listen, input is to be entered on debtor side and output is to be entered on creditor side. So 14,000 units we entered as the output. Okay. So now we calculate the unit column. Okay. In unit column, what is the total unit? Total input unit. Total input is 21,000. Okay. So from the 21,000 you have to subtract the output unit and closing stock unit. Okay. First we have to add the output unit and the closing stock unit. 14,000 plus 5,000 means what? How much? 14,000 plus 5,000 add together you will get 19,000 rupees. You have to subtract a 19,000 unit from the 21,000 unit. You will get 2,000 unit. That 2,000 unit is considered as the wastage. Right? This is the balancing figure. Okay. Then come to the cost side. Okay, the total cost at the end of the process B, we got the total process is how much cost? 1,32,000 rupees. After we have to subtract the total cost from the closing stock value. Okay, after subtracted 1,32,000 minus 20,000, you will get 1,12,000 rupees. Got it? Are you clear? Now, what we have to do? We are going to find out the cost per unit. How can you calculate the cost per unit? We have the format. Cost per unit is you have to subtract, divide it, total cost divided by output. The total cost is 1,12,000 rupees. The output value is 14,000 given in the question. After divided, you will get 8 per unit. The cost per unit is 8 rupees. Okay, at the end of the process B, we get the cost per unit is 8 rupees. Okay, where is it? 8 rupees. Do you have any doubt? Please comment it to the comment box. I am ready to clarify your doubt. Okay, let's come after finished. Now we've completed the process B. Okay, now we are going to prepare the process C account. Okay, in process C account, let's see the question. Check the question. Okay, listen. In process C account, we have the opening stock. How much unit? 5,000 unit. Okay, so first of all, you are going to enter the opening stock. Okay, listen here carefully. In process B, we have 14,000 unit output, and total cost at the end of the process B is 1,12,000 rupees. So it will be transferred to process C account. Okay, so you are against this value you are going to write by process C account. Why? Because the output and the total cost of the process B will be transferred to process C account. Okay, so for that you are going to write here against this value. Okay, so in process C's opening stock, how much unit? 5,000 unit. Enter in the unit column. What is the rule for opening and closing stock? If they given in the question, we have the rules. The rules is the opening stock and the closing stock they have given in the question. The opening and closing stock will be added at the cost per unit taken from the previous process. Okay, so what is the cost per unit for the previous process? 8 rupees. Right, so the opening process C's opening stock is 5,000 unit. It will be calculated with the previous process 8 rupees cost per unit. 5,000 into 8 are 40,000 rupees. So opening stock value is 40,000 rupees entered. After enter the find out the opening stock value, you need to transfer the output of the process B will be enter into the process C account as the input. Okay, so process B's output 14,000 rupees. Total cost for the process B is 1,12,000 rupees is to be entered. Against this, you are going to write to process B account because that it will be taken from process B. That output and the total cost taken from where? Process B. Okay, be entered. Okay, after enter the opening stock and output taken from the process B only, you are going to enter other additional cost they given in the process C. What are the additional costs they have given in the question? Process C, raw material is not given in C. Apart from that, other direct material, direct wages, overheads accordingly 10,000, 30,000 and 20,000 is given in the question. As per that, you are going to enter on debtor side because it's a cost, it's a expenses. Production expenses, production cost. Okay, enter. After enter, what we have to do? Finally, you are going to calculate the unit. Input unit is 14,000 plus 5,000. You will get 19,000 rupees. After added all the cost, you will get 2,12,000 rupees. Okay, the total you have entered on both the debtor and the creditor side. Okay, let's come to unit column on creditor side. Okay, let's check the question. Listen, if they given the opening stock, they have to given the closing stock too. Okay, what is the closing stock for the process C? The closing stock for the process C is 1,000 unit. Okay, so in unit column, Credit side, you have to enter the closing stock. Opening stock goes on debtor side. Closing stock comes on creditor side. Okay. Closing stock valued 1000 units entered in unit column. Okay. Oh, we have the rules, no. So what is that? Opening and closing stock valued at the cost per unit taken from the previous process. Okay. What is the cost per unit for the previous process we calculated? It is 8 rupees, right? So that 1000 rupees will be calculated, multiplied with 8 rupees, you will get 8000 rupees. The closing stock value is 8000 rupees. Then you will check the question. Okay, what is that? Output unit. How much you need the output for the process C? That is a 17,000 unit. Okay. So the 17,000 unit output you have to enter on credit side of the in unit column, because input unit will be entered on debtor side unit column and output value unit will be entered on credit side of the unit column. Okay, 17,000 units we entered on unit column on creditor side. Okay, after entered, first we have to calculate the unit column. Okay, so the total unit is what? Input unit 19,000 units. Okay, then the output unit 1000 rupees, closing stock unit is 17,000 and 1000 you will get, after added together you will get 18,000 rupees. You have to subtract the total unit from that 18,000, you will get 1000 units. That 1000 unit is called as a wastage balancing figure. Okay, then come to amount column. Okay, what is the total cost in amount column at the end of the process C? The total cost of the amount column is 2,12,000 rupees. Now we have to subtract the 2,12,000 rupees from closing stock 8,000. So 8,000 subtracted from 2,12,000, you will get 2,04,000 rupees. Okay, so what is the output? 17,000. What is the total cost at the end of the process C? After all the adjustment, 2,04,000 rupees. Okay, now we are going to find out the unit cost per unit. So the cost per unit is total cost divided by output. Total cost 2,04,000 rupees. Total output is 17,000 rupees. After cancelling, you will get 12 per unit. 12 rupees cost per unit. Okay. So against this output, listen, they have given 3 processes. Okay. A, process B, process C. At the end of the process C, you will get the finished product. Okay, so what is the finished stock account? The finished stock account is 17,000 units and 2,04,000 total cost taken from process C. Okay, do you have any doubt? Please comment into the comment box. Thank you. Take care. Listen carefully. 4th sum is homework for you. Okay. You will do the homework for 4th sum. Let's see the 5th sum. Stock of the material is given. What is meant by stock of the material is given? That means opening stock and closing stock is given in this question. Okay. There are 2 processes given here. Process X, process Y. Let's see, read the question. From the following information, show the total cost and the cost per unit of a process X and the process Y. What they given? Total cost and cost per unit you are going to find out. Okay. What are they given? Direct material, direct wages, output in units, opening stock and closing stock in previous processes, right? So listen carefully. Opening and closing stock is not given in the process X. Process Y only they have given opening stock 2,000 rupees, closing stock, unit 2,000 unit, closing stocks 800 units. Okay, let's prepare process X account. Okay. So, you know very well, as per the illustration 4, you are going to prepare exercise sum number 5. Okay. So, what is that? In debtor side, you are going to write direct material, direct wages. Okay. We entered 40,000 taken from process X and 60,000 taken from process X. We entered, after entered, the output unit is 5,000 given in process X. So, the output unit means what? This is the previous unit. Previous process output is taken from the previous process. We are going to enter the current process. This is considered as the input. Okay, 5,000 rupees taken from where? in from previous unit, okay, previous process, okay. After entered, now we are going to find out the total, okay. Total input unit is 5,000 rupees, 5,000 units, and after added the cost 40,000 plus 60,000, you got 1 lakh rupees total cost taken from the process X is 5,000 units and 1 lakh rupees, okay. Listen, so on debtor side we consider that 5,000 unit as the input. On creditor side there is no value, there is no any adjustment on creditor side. So the same total unit and the total cost you are going to enter on creditor side. This is called as balancing figure. That balancing figure is called as output. At the end of the process X, you got the total cost is 1 lakh rupees and 5,000 unit output, okay. Against this value you are going to write by process product or process Y account, okay. Why you are going to write against this value by process Y account? Why? Because these two value taken from here and transferred to next process as the input, okay. So for that you are going to write by process Y account. Within the bracket you should write output unit transferred, okay. Listen, now we are going to find out the cost per unit, okay. So what is the format? Total cost divided by output unit, okay. Total cost of 1 lakh rupees divided by output unit 5,000. After cancel it, you will get cost per unit is 20 rupees, okay. So first process completed, that means process X account completed. Now we are going to prepare process Y account, okay. So let's see the question. If they given opening stock in the question, you have to enter the opening stock first. Then only you are going to transfer previous process output into the current process input, okay. So what is the opening stock? You need 2,000 units, okay. So first of all, process Y account you are going to write on debtor side to opening stock unit column you are going to enter 2,000 unit, okay. Listen, we have the rules, no. What is the rule? Opening stock and closing stock they have given in the question. The value will be calculated with the previous cost per unit taken from the previous process, okay. What is the cost per unit for the previous process? 20 rupees, right? So the 20 rupees cost per unit will be calculated with the opening stock unit, right? So for that 2,000 into 20 rupees you will get 40,000 rupees. So what is the opening stock value? The amount is 40,000. Then only you are going to take an output unit taken from previous process and enter into the current process, okay. So what is that? 5,000 and 1 lakh rupees will be entered. You are going to write against this value to process X account. Within the bracket transferred, you should write transferred, okay. Then only the additional cost what they given in the question for process Y will be entered, okay. What is the additional cost? They have given direct material, direct wages 60,000, 40,000 rupees, okay. And will be entered on debtor side. Direct material 60,000, direct wages 40,000 entered, okay. Listen here carefully. If they given the opening stock, they have also given the closing stock too, okay. So what is the closing stock unit? 800 unit. So opening stock will be entered on debtor side beginning. Closing stock will be entered on at the end of the creditor side at the end, okay. The closing stock unit is 800 rupees entered on unit column, okay. So what is the rule, you know? Tell me. Opening and closing stock, if they given in the question, it will be valued with the cost per unit taken from previous process. So that 800 unit will be calculated with the cost per unit from the previous process. That is 20 rupees. 800 into 20 rupees will be 16,000 rupees. What is the closing stock value? Cost 16,000 rupees, okay. So let's come to the question. They have given the output in the question. Yes, they have given output in process Y. How much unit? 6,000 unit. So you are going to enter the output 6,000 unit on unit column. Input unit will be entered on debtor side, output unit will be entered on creditor side. After enter the output, now we are going to find out the differences. How can you find out the differences? Listen, what is the total unit? What is the total input unit? That is 7,000 unit, right? So now we are going to add closing stock unit and output unit. Add together, you will get 6,000 plus 800. 6,800 rupees will be subtracted from 7,000 rupee unit. You will get 200. The 200 unit is called as what? Normal loss, right? So we find out here the normal loss. This is the new method. Okay. Listen here carefully. What is the closing stock? Cost 16,000 rupees. Now we are going to find out the differences. How can you find out the 2,40,000 subtracted from 16,000 subtracted from 2,40,000? You will get 2,24,000 rupees. Okay, listen. So this is the output. Again, this 6,000 unit output and 2,24,000 cost at the end of the process. Why we find out the total cost, that is 2,24,000 rupees. Again, this value you are going to write by finished stock account. Okay, entered. Now we are going to find out the cost per unit. What is the cost per unit formula? You know very well. Cost, total cost divided by output. What is the total cost at the end of the process? Y. Total cost is 2,24,000 rupees. What is the output? That output is 6,000 rupees, right? 6,000 unit. Okay. So after cancel it, what you get? Cost per unit is rupees 37 rupees 33 paisa. Okay. Do you have any doubt? Please comment it. Thank you. Take care.